Welcome back, folks, and thanks for sticking with us this morning. I hope you all are having a fantastic day so far. Well, up next, we are talking about an upcoming 5K that is coming up centered around colon cancer awareness. But of course, we also want to touch on colon cancer awareness as a whole and kind of what to look out for. So we are sitting down with Dr. Henry Herrera this morning from DHR Health. So I want to thank you so much for coming in this morning.
Thank you so much for having me. Appreciate it.
Yes, thank you so much. So before we get into all the details about the upcoming 5K, which we know a lot of people love to participate in those, and it is the first of its kind that you guys are doing, let's talk a little bit about colon cancer awareness. And I know it's very broad. There's a lot of things to kind of consider, but let's just touch a little bit on those like top details of what folks kind of need to consider and what they might not even think might be a warning sign or a flag.
Sure thing, absolutely. So, you know, March is Colon Cancer Awareness Month, and it's everybody thinks there's like that time of the year to really focus in on colon cancer, but I like to think of it just more as an exclamation point to the year-round campaign against this disease. So it's, you know, a couple of important details is that it's the third most common cancer in the United States, and it's the second leading cause of cancer death in the United States. So in 2020, they're expected to have about 150,000 new cases.
Wow.
So it's a big deal. You know, you have about a 1 in 25 chance of getting colon cancer in your lifetime. Most of these patients are over the age of 50, but here recently they're starting to find that patients younger are starting to get the disease more often. So, you know, believe it or not, most people think that if you have colon cancer, you're going to have symptoms, when actually in early stages, the most common symptom is no symptom at all. So you could be walking around and have no idea that you have something brewing inside you, and so that's why it's so important to get your colonoscopy screening.
Yeah, it is most definitely really important to do that, and I think it is. It's really great that you guys do this, and as you mentioned, you know, this is an exclamation point to the year that this is something that you guys should be considering at all times. And folks at home, if you are nervous about going and getting checked out and making sure that your health is okay, I know it's important, and I know it can be a little daunting, and we see that a lot of people are afraid to go to the doctors or afraid to ask the questions. But as you mentioned, 1 in 25 is your chance of getting colon cancer, which is a lot higher than I imagined it would be. So I think it's tremendously important for you to go out and to kind of see the right professionals and kind of go and see what is going on with your body. But what are those kind of, is there actual signs, or are there any symptoms or anything that would be indicators of them to be needing to go to see a doctor or see a health professional at all?
Sure. So, you know, when patients do have symptoms, the most common symptom ends up being a change in bowel habits. So bowel habits are different from person to person. Some people may go once a day, some people may go twice, some people may skip a day. As long as you're comfortable, then that's the normal. But if all of a sudden you're starting to notice that you're going every 3 or 4 days when previously you were going every day, then there may be something wrong. Or if you're starting to have more narrow, pencil-thin stools and before you were having, you know, more normal, regular bowel movements, and that's something to be aware of. Other things that you may notice are rectal bleeding. So if you see either bright red blood in the toilet paper, a lot of people will tend to blow that off and think it's hemorrhoids, but you may want to get checked out, especially if you're over the age of 50, because it could end up being a tumor.
Yeah, and then I know that 50 is kind of that age where you should go in for a colonoscopy to kind of make sure everything is okay, but I know that if you have a family history of any kind, or this is something that you should be looking at a lot sooner.
Absolutely. So when you think about risk factors, you think about the modifiable risk factors and the ones that are not modifiable. So you're alluding to the not modifiable risk factors. If you have a family history of colon cancer, so a first-degree relative that's diagnosed below the age of 60, then you're at much higher risk than the average population. And so they would recommend that you go in much sooner. It tends to be at the age of 40 or 10 years earlier than when your family member was diagnosed. There's a couple of other genetic syndromes that I won't go into detail on, but modifiable risk factors are other things that, you know, you definitely want to also know about, because those are things that you can potentially change. So avoiding eating too many red meats, too many processed foods, avoid eating too many meats that are cooked at really high temperatures, avoiding obesity, and also changing your dietary habits are huge, very important. Avoiding smoking, reducing your alcohol intake. These are all things that we can modify ourselves and help reduce our risk as best as possible.
Definitely, and overall, just again, I know, and that's something that we've touched on a lot with just different health professionals, that in general, kind of living your best and most healthy life will kind of keep you in a more general safer position than, you know, if you were to kind of eat all the greasy and the eating out and smoking and all that. So I think in general, just kind of, you know, try to live a a very healthy lifestyle as much as you can, and things in moderation, of course.
Exactly.
So, but I think this is really great. And again, March, again, you said, is kind of the exclamation point for colon cancer awareness, and to kind of get out and talk to the community and make sure that they're aware, and make sure that this is something that, you know, they keep on their mind, and they're, you know, aware of what's going on. But you guys do have an upcoming 5K coming up, and this is the first of its kind. It's to wipe out colon cancer, which I think this is very adorable to say. So tell me a little bit about when that's going to be held.
Yeah, so it's going to be on March 28th, and like you said, it's our first annual, so everybody at DHR-GI is extremely excited about this, so we really hope that everybody comes out. In addition to having a 5K, we're also going to have a fun run. It's called a Booty Fun Run.
Yes.
And so that's for family, for kids, anybody that wants to come out and just have a good time. I think it's really important. I think it's going to be huge in terms of getting the community involved, raising awareness for colon cancer and how to prevent it.
Definitely, and I think it's really great that not only when you guys host this, that people will be able to go out and with their friends, family, or whoever they want to. A lot of people do enjoy doing these different runs, and again, a fun run as well. But you guys will also have people there to kind of give out information and kind of answer any questions that somebody might have. So I think it's great because it serves two purposes. One, you're getting out, you're getting active, which is always a fantastic thing, but you're also being able to get information that is always very, very useful to have. So again, folks, if you do want to register for this race, you can visit dhrhealth.com, and there should be a link to kind of find exactly where this is going to be. There it is, dhrhealth.com/wipeout. And if you have any questions at all, make sure to go and give that number a call on your screen, and they will better assist you and kind of make sure that everything is kind of on their way, so that way you can have a great day on March 28th if you are choosing to go participate in the 5K or even the fun run, which I think will be great. But I think this is really important. I'm glad that we get to have you come in every year and kind of chat about this, because again, as you mentioned, that 1 in 25 number is really when I heard it, it was even more alarming to me to think that, because sometimes we think about just different diseases and things, and we're like, oh, not me. I've never known anybody in my family to have it, or I don't think I'm at risk for it. But with that number, you know, it's definitely something that you need to consider.
It's huge. I mean, you think about any average classroom.
Yeah.
Most classrooms are about 20 to 25 people, so there's chances are somebody in your previous high school classrooms or whatever classroom you may be in is going to have colon cancer in their lifetime. So it's very prevalent and very important to get checked. Well,
thank you so much. We appreciate you coming in this morning and chatting with us. We appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. All right, folks, when we come back, we are talking about the 7th annual Child Abuse Prevention 10K, 5K run and walk, so stick with us.